Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, channel that brings you your team every single day. So smash that sub, ring that notification bell. It's all free, guys. We don't charge you for the privilege. It is free. No paywalls here on this channel. Right, so where are we up to? Rangers played last night in the Europa League, a game out in Piraeus in Athens, and against a tricky team, shall we say, a team that are Conference League champions, current Conference League holders. They are a team that historically have done very well at home and have been difficult to beat at home. And whilst this Olympiacos team certainly isn't carrying the status of Olympiacos teams of the past. Certainly if you look at some of the Brazilian players or other talents they've had in the past, I remember, like I said, Rivaldo, Giovanni, for example, both playing for them in past fixtures in Champions League games, for example. They're still a team that, carry a threat, whose Europa League record this season has been fairly decent, and their home record is always very, very good. So to go there and get a point, I think, is a decent result. It is on the face of it a very good point for Rangers and leaves Rangers in a very good place to qualify for the next stages of the Europa League. I mean, certainly coming out of last night's game, you look at the Europa League standings and Rangers currently sit 10th in the playoff places on some 7 points. Just on the same points as Lyon, strangely enough, obviously, who took us to the cleaners. FCSB, who I thought were very, very poor, actually above us on 9 points. The current makeup of the said table is as follows. I tell you what, we'll pull it up on screen so you can all have a look at the current Europa League standings and look at where we are and what the records look like. We just expand it so you can see it and enlarge it, and then bring it up on your screens for you so we can share this information. Look, we're in a good place to qualify. Obviously, we've got some tough games upcoming. We certainly have, some very, very tough games that, certainly will be tougher than perhaps even tonight was. But let's have a little look at it, shall we? So Europa League currently, Lazio sit top of the table, the only team with a 4 from 4 record, 12 points. Only 2 goals conceded. Ajax under the fantastic Francesco Piraeus, someone I think, believe it or not, Rangers actually looked at one point, on 10 points, sits second, again undefeated. Gala sits third after beating Spurs 3-2. Eintracht Frankfurt, headed by the amazing Omar Mamouche, who's just a striker from a different planet at the moment, a guy who's an Egyptian, another perhaps Mohamed Salah. Anderlecht sit 5th, Athletic Club sits 6th, Tottenham 7th, FCSB 8th. Quite how they're there, God only knows, because they were absolutely shocking against us. 9th is Lyon, 10th Rangers, you can see there sitting on the same number of points as Olympiacos. Bodo Glimt 12th, Mietland 13th, Ferencváros 14th, Manchester United down in 15th, Victoria Plizen in 16th, Alkmaar in 17th, Besiktas in 18th, Hoffenheim in 19th, Roma in 20th, Unbreathed, Fenerbahce in 21st, Porto in 22nd, Slavia Prague in 23rd, Elfsborg 24th, Sociedad 25th, Braga 26th, Twente 27th, that's Sam Lammer's team, Malmo 28th, Karabag 29th, Union Saint-Gilloise 30th, Nice, who we've still got to play in bad form, 31st, RFS 32nd, PAOK 33rd, 34th Ludogorets, 35th Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Dynamo Kiev sit bottom of the pile. So certainly some hope there with Nice sitting so low. Manchester United, who do seem to be moving into form now, and obviously the appointment of Ruben Amorim is certainly worrying times with them upcoming. But look, we sit 10. We're in a good place at this moment in time. We do need to obviously get some points from these remaining fixtures. I mean, look, it isn't going to be easy. I mean, let's face it, there are some tough teams in this league, as you've just seen in this Europa League rather weird kind of set up as it is at this moment in time. Certainly, looking at what's coming up, what we've got to still do, who we've still got to play there. Next up is Nice on the 28th of November in France. Now, Nice don't seem to be in form at the moment, which is surprising considering where they came from last season. After that, a little trip, it gets a little bit tougher after that. Match day 6, Rangers will take on Tottenham at Ibrox. Obviously, very tough Tottenham side that coached by former Celtic manager and Ange Postecoglou, with some very talented players like James Maddison, Dom Solanke, for example. Then it is well, you know what? It doesn't get any easier, does it? We go to Old Trafford to take on the Ruben Amorim-inspired, Ruud van Nistelrooy-inspired Manchester United, although it's very doubtful that Van Nistelrooy will still be there by that point, I believe, as Amorim, I believe, will bring in his own people. And we finish at home against Union Saint-Gilloise. You've got to feel that, you know, if we can get perhaps 10 points, it should be enough to get us at least into the playoff round. So, you know, I don't think automatic qualification, but it's, you know, decent enough. But let's get back to last night's game. I think the first biggest talking point last night's game was the team lineup. I've got to say, when I saw this lineup drop, I was actually stuck in traffic at the time. And it was, you know, it flashed up on my car screen. In my car, and yeah, I wasn't anywhere near my phone at that point because that's illegal. And I saw that Tav wasn't in the team. I almost died of shock. I almost seriously passed out. The fact that James Tavernier was on the bench. I mean, I seriously would not have called that all day long. I mean, look, Cyril Dessers starting. Look, we didn't. You know, look, let's face it. We'll talk about Dessers and we'll talk about how bad he actually is shortly. But look, I mean, realistically, when you've only got Igman, obviously, you know, Dindenio's not in the squad because he was injured at the time the European squad was named, so obviously that's not an option. You kind of got to go with him as bad as he is. But, you know, not seeing Tav there was an absolute, you know, massive surprise for me. But, you know, I thought Sterling was excellent in today's game. I thought he was very, very good indeed at right back. And it was a surprise that he was taken off to some degree, although, you know, thinking back to Philippe Clement's comments, he did kind of talk that the sports scientists, the guys who seem to pick and motivate and everything the team, said that Sterling could not manage 90 minutes. Plopper came back in place of Balogun, which was a bit of a surprise that Cass maybe didn't go in there. He didn't want to pick Balogun. Kiefte at left back. Barron and Raskin, who I thought were brilliant. We'll talk about them as well. Tierney, Diamande in the 10, kind of. Bayrami, and unfortunately Cyril Dessers. Bench that featured a number of the younger players who obviously didn't get a look in. Ridvan back on the bench, obviously it was very positive as well. Tav on the bench, well, you know, I suppose kind of everything can we, you know, it would have been nice if Tav hadn't been included at all. But Big Jack wore the armband, which is fair enough. Look, overall, I mean, look, we can look at the game and we can look at the stats from the game. I mean, they had 14 shots, we had 11, but we had more on target than them. We had 6, they had 2. They had more possession than us, more passes than us. Their pass accuracy was better. Our pass accuracy was fairly shocking, actually. 68% is not good. That needs to improve. You know, looking at the attacking side of the game, accurate passes, he's not very good at all there. You know, your accurate passes, 405 to 237. That's pretty poor. Big chances missed by Rangers, 3 of them. So big chances 3, big chances missed 2. Obviously, Cyril Dessers to blame for both of those misses. They were offside more than us, and corners were even. I mean, look, we'll talk about the negative first, and then we'll talk about the positive. So let's talk about the negative first of all. Right, look, I'm going to be honest with you. This guy here is just not the answer. Yes, he scored a goal, but how many chances did he miss? I mean, genuinely, how many chances does he miss? And not even hard chances. That's the ironic thing. Now, I know Erling Haaland misses chances. I know that, you know, some of the best strikers in Europe, Kylian Mbappe, miss chances. But they don't miss chances like this guy misses chances. Mr. 1 in 3, so it seems. Now, this is a game we could have easily had 3. I mean, I'll be absolutely honest with you. I thought the performance last night was good. I thought 10 players were excellent last night, and Dessers was average. I thought that he really cost us those 3 points. If he'd taken one of those 2 chances that he misses, we win that game. We win that game easily. Honestly, we win that game. And we're sitting on 12 points rather than 10. Dessers is just so inconsistent. So, and he's just, I mean, enigma's not the word. I mean, I don't want to see the word enigma used around Dessers again. I mean, the guy is just poor. Absolute poor. I mean, second rate doesn't cover how bad he is. I mean, he makes Sibo and Solenko look world class. I mean, he really does. He just misses too many chances. Now, if we had a proper clinical 9 last night, we win that game. We easily win that game. If those 2 chances fall to, someone who's got a clinical finishing side to his game, I mean, I'd even suggest, and I know some people are going to laugh at me for this and have a go at me for this, but I even suggest if those 2 chances fall to Danilo, he takes one of them, at least one of them, and we win the game 2-1. Dessers is just so unreliable. And I know he has his fans out there in podcast world. I know that. I know the likes of, Shona and those that love him to bits and genuinely just shows, I think, their lack of understanding of football. But the guy is just absolute second rate. He's a flat track bully. He is a very poor footballer. And until we get rid of him and we actually get a proper number 9, we're not going to go on to be successful. At these top level games, you get a limited number of chances and you've got to take them. Now, if these chances are falling to Cyril Dessers, he's going to miss them because he genuinely isn't good enough. So for me, he is not the answer. We need to go and we need to get a real number 9, a proper number 9, someone who's going to score goals on a regular basis. Take the chances that fall to him. People say, "Oh, he'll score 20 this season." Well, yeah, and he probably will, and he did. As Cyril Dessers unplugs my microphone. So look, I genuinely don't rate the guy. I genuinely think the guy is absolute trash. Right, let's deal with some positives from last night. I thought, top performances last night. I thought Suter was very good. I thought Sterling was very good last night. I thought Dio did a good job last night. I thought Bayrami was very effective last night. Now, for me, the 2 players that absolutely stood out last night, they absolutely bossed that game for me, was Nicholas Raskin and Connor Barron. I thought they were both absolutely outstanding. They really genuinely were. Connor Barron was still going at 100 miles an hour in the 90th minute. The lad was just absolutely snapping into tackles, smashing it into people. I once heard Roy Keane talk about Manchester United and them losing to Manchester City in a derby. And, he talked about the fact that, the players didn't go out there and smash into someone and start an argument and get stuck in. And he wanted to see all those things. Now, Connor Barron last night, for me, did all those things. He started an argument. He got stuck in. He smashed into people. He genuinely was just an absolute pain in the arse to Olympiacos. Now, Nicholas Raskin, again, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant last night. And I've read some absolute tosh from Rangers fans online last night. People saying, I had one comment about, Raskin stunk out the joint for the entire 75, 80 minutes whenever he made the comment. Someone else wrote, Raskin was one of the worst players on the field. I genuinely just think, look at these people and think, you don't know football. You genuinely don't understand the game, or you haven't got a clue. Raskin and Barron were brilliant last night. They were absolutely brilliant. They ran the game. They bossed the game. They got control of the game. Any time that Olympiacos threatened, they smashed it up. Their passing was okay. It wasn't brilliant. It wasn't terrible. It was okay. It needs to improve. I will give you that. But to say that Raskin and Barron, or even Raskin, was poor last night, there seems to be an agenda from some fans against Nicholas Raskin. And I don't understand why there was this agenda against him. He's a top player. He's a good footballer, and he will get even better. He's a young lad. He's still got time to develop, time to get better, time to learn. And I thought he was very, very good last night. Like I said, both him and Barron, for me, show a real promise there. They show, I think, a couple of things we've kind of been desperate for Rangers players to show over the last few years. Number one, legs to get around the midfield, which we haven't had. And, particularly against that lot from across the city, we've been dominated by them in that area. And secondly, a little bit of nastiness, a little bit of bite, a little bit of get stuck in, a bit of pit bull about them. They certainly had that last night. So I think, excuse me, the kind of criticism of them is very unfair, particularly Raskin, who seems to get the majority of it. I do think there is, amongst some of the supporters, a real agenda against Raskin, which I think is very, very wrong. He does have a basic level of talent there that I think can really develop. But I thought they were very good last night, Raskin and Barron. Tierney, I thought, was very good as well. Bayrami, I thought, was very good as well. I think we were lucky not to get the 3 points. I mean, as daft as that might sound, and as as positive we are as about getting a result in Piraeus, somewhere we never expected to get a result. I think going into last night's game, I genuinely think we could have got all 3 points. Dessers takes his chances. The Bayrami shot goes in. Whatever. I think we could have actually won that game last night. I genuinely do. But there's a lot of encouraging performances. I think one of the most encouraging things was the fact that we didn't have James Tavernier, and we genuinely looked better without him, in my opinion. We genuinely did look better without him. There wasn't a defensive uncertainty on the right side. We were better going forward. There was more fluidity. Players didn't have to constantly cover for him all the time, which is a massive positive. I think that's one of the big weaknesses of this team, that too often the likes of John Suter and Barron and Raskin have to cover for Tav and his defensive inabilities. For me, Tav can sit the rest of the season on the bench. He really genuinely can. But look, that is a very good result last night, and it started to show excuse me, some signs of promise last night, and that is very, very positive. So that's there are positives to take out of last night. Yes, there are negatives, Cyril Dessers, but there are lots of positives as well to take out of the game. Guys, let me know your positives and negatives. Let me know your man of the match. Let me know your thoughts on last night's game. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, please smash the like, smash the sub, ring the bell, do a share, do a comment, all that great stuff that helps the video to grow. And always remember, never forget, we are the people.